The skater came within an inch of being an NHL superstar, put some dynamite numbers up for the Stars after coming over from the LA Kings and probably one of the worst trades of the 1970s in the NHL. But what stands out for me as a fan of the NHL late 70s, early 80s, how consistent Tim Young was. Tim Young was probably not only one of the most underrated skaters ever in the NHL, he basically was playing on a team that he had no line mates to really push him forward until Minnesota got a little momentum with Bobby Smith and Steve Payne, and a big part of that 81 Stanley Cup run against the Honors where, of course, he lost 4 straight. So Tim Young, my God, what a talent and what an overall career he had. Now, Tim Young, born in Scarborough, Ontario, played 10 seasons in the NHL for Minnesota, Winnipeg, and the Philly Flyers. Now, another one of the graduates of the Quebec International Pee Wee Hockey Tournament. He played in the 67 event with Toronto Shops. He's one of the most recognized minor squads in the city's history. He began his junior career as a stalwart with the Ottawa 67s of the OHA. Young had a very solid rookie season, earning 106 points in 69 games, helping the 67s to the playoffs. In 7 playoff games that year, Young had 5 points. After the season, he was drafted by the Whalers in the 1974 WHA draft and was eventually drafted by the Kings 16 overall in 1975. Now, the big center with the big right shot, typical solid player from Scarborough, 6'1", 190. Now, the oddity about Young's style of play, he was not, say, a power forward, but as close as you're going to get at that 6'1" size. Now, his initial recognition came in Pembroke of the COJHL, where he had 41 goals in 55 games in 73. Now, Ottawa back-to-back, he had 101 goals in 74 and 75. Won a lot of awards with Ottawa. He was a third-team All-Star in 75. The league's assist leader in 75 with 107. How he only made the third team, I don't know. He had the most goals in one game that year, 6 versus St. Catharines on January 24th, 75, and that's, of course, a shared record. He also had the most points in the game for Ottawa versus St. Catharines on January 24th contest, and on versus London on February 16th, 75. Again, most goals in one game for Ottawa, 6, and most assists in one game, 7 versus London. Now, he debuted with Minnesota on November 18, 1975, against St. Louis. Now, you're saying to yourself, why did he end up in Minnesota? Now, this is where the story gets really bizarre. Shortly after the 1975 draft, LA signed Marcel Dionne, again, as part of that Detroit deal. The move upset Young so much because he felt Dionne's addition would jeopardize the ability to earn a roster spot. He then requested that LA trade him. And less than 2 months after the draft, the Kings obliged Young by sending him to Minnesota in exchange for a 1976 second-round pick. Can you believe it? Someone called Steve Clippendale. No disrespect to Steve Clippendale, but this is the first time I'm hearing about him, besides maybe a Hockey News article. Now, he wore the famous number 17 for Minnesota Winnipeg for a number of years, eventually retired in 1985, and his 10-year career, 536 points, 628 games, 195 goals. And in the playoff run, 31 points in 36 games. But his big seasons came in 77 towards 81. He made the All-Star game for Minnesota in that 77 campaign, lost to the Islanders as part of the Stars in 1981. He was the Minnesota Masterton Cup MVP in 77. He won the WTCN TV trophy for top rookie in 76. He also won most points award in 76 with 51 and 77 with 95. He was Minnesota captain from October 81 to September 82. He was their goals leader in 78 with 23, their assist leaders in 77 with 67. He led the team in playoff scoring in 1977 as well. Now, what really stood out, he scored those 5 goals in one game, still an unbelievable record. He scored on all 5 shots he had in that first 5 shots he had in that game. He also had the most points for Minnesota in a playoff game, 5 for Boston on April 9, 81, which of course is a shared record. Now, he's also most assists in a playoff game in that same contest. Because he scored his goal in his first NHL game, everybody was talking about him from the start. Now, he set Minnesota's single-season record since broken with 95 points and 66 assists in 77. And the big line he played on in 78 was the Perreault, Brassard, Ron Zanussi trio, and of course Brassard also played in the all-Swedish line that year. Now, he also became the second player in NHL history to score 5 goals on 5 shots, like I said, in one game when he achieved defeat at the Rangers on January 15, 79, and he won NHL Player of the Week for that performance. Now, he set a Minnesota record since broken for consecutive games goal scoring, 6, and goals by a center, 31 in 1980. Get this. He played defense for parts of Minnesota Stanley Cup quarterfinal Game 7 victory over Montreal on April 27, 1980. And I remember that he was very strong in defense. Now, the big line he played on, of course, was T-Pain and Al McAdam in 1981. Now, unfortunately, he missed part of the 81 playoffs with a knee injury that required postseason surgery. Now, he missed part of the 82 season while recovering from a broken ankle, an injury he suffered in an off-season neighborhood softball game. And he also had a bad back injury which hastened the enemy's career on January 7, 84 against Washington. Now, he did spend some time in the AHL trying to get back to the big league, but that's kind of nondescript. Now, drafted by the WHA, 13 overall round 1 in 74 by, of course, New England, and he was also a big player for Minnesota's NHL team that competed in Sweden's 1980 DN Cup tournament. Now, Blade is basically a player that not say they forgot about him, but get this. He turned down big money to stay with Ottawa for the 75 season. Again, he led the league in points with 106 and assists with 106, 107, and second highest in point total at 163. Now, the time with the Stars again was quite strong, but how he ended up with the Jets is a very weird situation. He had an injury-plagued 82 season, a year he was named captain of the Stars, but he only appeared in 49 games, but had almost a point-a-game pace at 41. In the playoffs, he had 2 points in 4 games, but in 83 he stayed healthy as he played in 70 games, earning 53 points. However, he appeared in only 2 playoff games, earning 2 assists. Now, the North Stars were trying to make some changes, and he traded Young to the Jets for Craig Levi and Tom Ward on August 3rd, 83. Now, in Young's only season in 84, he appeared in only 44 games with 34 points, helping the Jets to a well-deserved playoff spot. He only appeared in 1 playoff game, earning an assist. Now, he was eventually traded to the Flyers for the 84-85 season, but the injuries that continued to mark a toll on Young's career pretty well ended it. He spent most of 85 between the Flyers and Hershey. In 20 games with the Flyers, he had 8 points, but finished the regular season with the Bears. He was productive with Hershey, earning 48 points in 49 games. However, he decided to retire at the conclusion of the season at age 30. Now, again, where everybody points out one of the best sophomore seasons in NHL history, in 1977, again, 95 points, 29 goals in 80 games. And again, he was within a second to be a superstar. But his goal totals were very consistent. He went from 18 to 29, 23, 24, 31. The 1980 season was tremendous. It broke 30 for the first time, and 25. 82 injury plague at 10 goals. 83, 18 goals. 84, 15, and again, was very dominant at Hershey. But his 536 points in 628 games don't really show his full talent. Easily one of the best 20 to 30 goal scorers of his era. And I look at those back-to-back seasons in 1980 and 81 where he had 24 points in 27 playoff games, 19 assists. Again, a very good playmaker, comparable to a Mark Recchi in a lot of ways. Good sweeping strides, strong in the corners, never took a bad penalty, rarely would take a major. But like I said, I look at those Ottawa 67 numbers, especially in 1975. My God, the decision to back up money. But I don't know what the Whalers threw at him. It can't be that much. So, but ladies and gentlemen, when you look back at the late 70s, early 80s, who did you want to become a superstar? There was a lot of players. Dennis Marook had superstar status thrust upon him when he went from Washington to Minnesota, had a lot of goals. Joe Meloche as well in the nets. But when Tim Young, we knew Tim Young was going to do something in his career, but not to say injuries killed it. But my God, if he would have played Toronto or Montreal where somebody would protect him, he had very little protection in Minnesota. He would get banged around a lot because he would never be able to finish a full season. That was his big deal. But you know, when you play in Ottawa in the OHA at the time, boys, it was a rough league in the mid to late 1970s. But what was kind of weird, a lot of people do not remember. He became a hometown hero in Hershey. He was very well liked with Hershey, Pennsylvania. The fans loved him down there because he remembered his time playing with Minnesota. But I'm sorry it didn't work out in Winnipeg because, again, he was a fan favorite there too. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the story of Tim Young. If you like what we're doing here, we're a Minnesota Vintage podcast. Let us know with a like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget, the only way that they bet Montreal in 1980 and 81 is the old stars, the young recruits from the mid-70s, combined with Payne and Smith and Al McAdams Magic and Joe Meloche from Cleveland. It all worked together. If you stir the drink, if you're going to have a team come from nowhere to make it to a Stanley Cup final, you couldn't do any better to the Minnesota North Stars from 78 to 81. From nothing to everything within a couple of seasons. Amazing. Thanks for listening. Bye.